Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Give me just a moment to get everything going. So just let me know that you're here, where you're signing in from, um, while I hit live in all the places. All right, let's see. All right. So one more thing. All right, there we go. Perfect. It's a wonderful day when technology works correctly. So thank you for being here. And I'm so excited to be with you today. And let me just say that I have had the most fun with doing these workshops and sharing with everyone. And so I posted something earlier today that came from a really personal place. And honestly, I wasn't sure I was going to share it, but I did. And some of the responses told me I needed to go deeper on it. So I decided I would go ahead and go live and do that with you guys. So that's what we're doing here today. So I want to talk about money blocks. Now, this is nothing new to you. That's what I've been talking about a lot lately. But we're going to talk about it in a different way, not in the way that maybe you've heard before. But maybe some of the things from me, but I don't know. But most of what we hear about money blocks is incomplete. And that's really what I'm working to do, is to fill in that gap a little bit. Because today I want to show you why. So let me tell you a little bit about the post that I shared earlier. It was about someone that I loved and admired deeply. But this person was an amazing person, extraordinary, a millionaire, a businessman, someone who created real significant wealth and was respected by everyone who knew him. We used to have lunches together at least once a month, or at least we tried to, because he was my mentor. He was the person I wanted to go and just sit with him and soak up his genius, because he always had some amazing thing to say. And he was so generous with his wisdom and his time with me. And I'm so grateful for that. But the thing that was coming up for me was, one of the things that I observed with him was he worked all the time. He worked on trips. He had his conversations ended up being around work. Every focus, it was all about the business. And even on his days off, he would go in and work. And I watched that and I took it in. And I realized that somewhere inside, without me even realizing it, I made a quiet decision. I wanted a business. I wanted a very successful business, but I didn't want one that took all my time. Now, maybe for him, it was a labor of love, and I really think it was. But I'll never know. He passed away quite a few years ago, and I've missed him every day since. I really missed those luncheons and getting to just talk. So I wish I had asked him the question of, are you doing this in this way because you're just striving for more and more and more? Or is it just because you love it? But I never did. But what I do know is this, that quiet decision I made became a belief. And that belief has quietly shaped every single business decision I've ever made. And that's a money block. Not because I was struggling, not because I didn't have enough, but because I watched someone I loved and made a decision about what I would and wouldn't do. And my subconscious took that and ran with it. Interestingly enough, I remember when I first started coaching school, there were a lot of people that were leaving wanting to coach people instead of doing their corporate job. Now, I was a hairstylist, still am. I still do that. But the thing was is that I was very in control of my schedule. I basically worked for myself, so I could take time off if I wanted to take time off. If one of my kids got sick, I could call one of my clients and say, "Hey, I've got to go home with my kids. Can you come tomorrow or the next day or whatever?" And everybody was always accommodating. It was amazing, right? So when I would think about this, the way my uncle did business, and then when people are talking about coaching and we're studying and we're learning, and then people are starting to talk about it in a way that felt like it was just as restrictive. And I thought, I'm not doing this so that I can have another job. I'm doing this because I want to help myself and help others, but I want it to release me from having to do anything. Now, I'll still do hair. I love doing hair, but I'll do it just because I want to, not because that's what pays my bills. So it's an interesting thing, right? So I even had a little bit of a struggle when I first started the coaching because I didn't want to train people that I was on 24/7. I wanted to have boundaries and exercise those boundaries, and it was very difficult. But I'm getting off track. Here's what I want you to understand today. Money blocks don't all look the same. And that's why so many people don't even recognize them in themselves. Maybe, I'm checking the window here. Maybe it's the person that whose works very hard, does everything right, hustling, showing up, and there's still never quite enough. That's a money block. Then there's the person who is making good money, solid income, maybe even impressive income, but they can't slow down. They can't take time for themselves, for their family, for whatever. They're in the hustle flow, right? Vacations might even feel a little dangerous. Rest feels like a risk. I know for me, one of the things that was happening for me was that resting felt like I was being lazy. So some people may feel if I stop pushing it, all falls apart. That's a money block too. And then there's the person who has built real wealth, real success, and somewhere inside, there's still a voice that says, it's not enough. Keep going. I need more. That's absolutely a money block. And then there's people like me who watched someone else and made a quiet, unconscious decision that shaped everything. So I want to ask you something right now. Which one of these sounds familiar to you? Not enough? Can't stop? Never enough? Or did you watch someone and make a quiet decision like I did? Now, I have a friend who her family was all hustle, hustle. And so she sometimes feels that if she takes time for herself, that she's doing something wrong because she was raised with the family that they hustled and they were always busy. And I fall into that sometimes too, where it's like I'm into so many things and I'm so busy, and it almost feels like a little crown that you wear that says, I deserve this because. What do you think? Does any of that hit? So here's the thing that nobody talks about in money mindset work. You can read every book, set every goal, do all the affirmations, and still feel stuck. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough, right? It's not because you don't want it badly enough. I've heard that one too. That if you wanted it bad enough, you'd do this. It's because all of that work is happening at the conscious level, and your money story lives in the subconscious level. Your subconscious mind makes up about 95% of your mental activity. And its whole job, its entire purpose, is to keep you safe. Now, safe doesn't mean happy. It doesn't mean thriving. It doesn't mean financially free. It means safe. So, safe means familiar. Safe means your subconscious mind knows we've survived this. We can do it again. What it doesn't know is if this thing that you're trying to do that's different, if you can survive it. So it's going to do everything in its power to get you back to being the same old you with the same old habits and the same old thoughts. Because it wants to keep you safe, even if surviving it means staying stuck. Even if surviving it means staying exhausted. Even if surviving it means staying just comfortable enough to not make a change. It could even be that you're so uncomfortable and miserable where you are, but it knows you've survived it. So when you try to willpower your way to a new financial reality, your subconscious pushes back every single time because it doesn't recognize the new place as safe yet. That's the missing step. That's what needs to be talked about. To actually change your money story, you have to work at the level where it lives, the subconscious level. And that's what I do. So tomorrow night, I'm hoping, well, I am hoping, but I'm hosting the last free workshop in this series, the missing step in every money mindset program you've ever tried. And you'll definitely want to be there. We're going to find and name your money story, where it came from and who wrote it. We're going to talk about why willpower keeps failing you. And then we're going to do some real work together in the room. A live group hypnosis session, EFT tapping. So not just information, actual experience, actual movement. It's free and it's live on Zoom. And I will tell you, the last workshop, it was amazing. That was the first time I did the tapping with the workshop. This is the third workshop. The first one, I didn't do the tapping, but on the second one, it was like something about as we were coming into, I was planning and getting things set. I thought, maybe they need some tapping. So we did that and everybody loved it. Nobody wanted to leave when everything was done. It was just amazing. And I actually felt just energized with the way everybody was in the room. And I decided that night, I said, this was so amazing. And it helped so many people. And the next day I got some emails about how it changed things for them. And I'd really like to reach out and talk to each one of them now and say, what's shifted for you? Maybe I'll do that. But in the meantime, I wanted to share this with you because it was so wonderful, so impactful that after I got a couple of emails, I said, I need to do this again. I want to do this again. So that's why tomorrow is happening. I am just overjoyed with sharing this work because we're going to be doing another hypnosis. Even if you came to the first one or the second one, this is going to be a different hypnosis, a different tapping. It's going to be really cool. So you definitely want to be there. And if you've never experienced tapping or hypnosis, you're in for fun-filled change night. So you got to come and join us. And I'm going to let me go ahead and drop this link in the comments. And then I will come back and check. And if you don't see it in the comments, you can look in my bio. There's a link in my bio that you can grab the link and get registered because I will be sending an email tomorrow to everyone who's registered with the actual Zoom link. So that's what you have to do. You have to register today, or you can register in the morning, just as long as it's done early enough that I can still send you the Zoom link, because you want to be there. You don't want to miss it. And if you have a friend or someone who would benefit too, definitely bring them along. The more, the merrier, right? So it is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. So grab your spot right now while you're thinking about it. So it's in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, the link will still be there, or go register with the link that's in my bio. But come be in the room with us. I'll see you tomorrow night. And as always, life is delicious. Mwah.